Hi, I'm Libby.
And I'm Amanda, and this is
Awkward
Holas.
We are two friends living in southern Spain, figuring out life abroad and all of the amazing and sometimes awkward moments it comes with.
Such as fitting your whole life in a suitcase.
Or how to eat dinner at 11 o'clock like a local.
Or finding community.
Ooh, or the right moment to say hola.
Hola.
That was the right moment.
Really?
How did you do that?
I've been practicing.
Oh my gosh. It's perfect. I couldn't even tell.
Oh my gosh, I'm blushing.
So good.
Well, welcome to Awkward Holas. Today on our first episode, we're going to be talking about what are we doing here in Spain? How do we even get to Spain? Amanda, let's rewind a bit. You and I met about 4.5 years ago, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
In the same place that we're actually recording this podcast from. So we met in... There you go. The Jota in Spanish still hurts my throat.
For you English speakers, it's Jaén.
Jaén. Yeah, that sounds bad.
It does sound bad.
Okay, anyway, so the way it's spelled is Jaen. And it's a beautiful region in southern Spain, full of many olive trees, quite picturesque.
66 million olive trees, to be precise.
If anyone's counting.
More than Italy and Greece combined, so...
Take that, Italy.
Take that, Italy.
The old age olive oil war.
Hell yeah.
But yes, what brought you to Spain?
So I initially studied abroad in Spain in university, like so many Americans, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like you as well.
Like me. I identify.
Yes. And I really loved being able to walk places every day, an experience that you cannot have in Texas, which is where I'm from, by the way. So after college and then after working in international education, I decided that I was tired of working in a cubicle and wanted to get out there myself.
The cubicle life is not for the weak.
No, it is not.
No.
Or for the adventurous.
No, for the adventurous.
So I came as an English teaching assistant, and then I stayed ever since, which was since September of 2020.
That's crazy. You're going to be coming up on your 5-year anniversary here in Spain.
I am, yeah. This year marks 5 years. Oof. And this year also marks 10 years of when I studied abroad in Spain. So it's a big year of anniversaries for me.
Yeah, getting old.
Yeah.
It happens.
What about you? What brought you here? And what made you stay?
So just like you, Amanda, I also, I studied Spanish in high school, like I know you did. And I studied abroad in 2018 in the beautiful city of Sevilla. Full circle now, I'm back in Sevilla studying a international communication master's.
Ole.
Ole, ole, ole. Can't get away from this place, apparently. But I came in 2020 as well in September to be an auxiliar, so the now CAP program. And it was a really amazing experience. Stayed for 2 years working as a English teaching assistant in school, and it was great. But then went back for a couple years to Boston, and I'm from Massachusetts. So coming back to Spain was really great, and I think it's interesting to come back and kind of be like an expat or this kind of in between space, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you like have multiple homes and.
Yes. I recently had someone ask me on the flight back, this man that sat next to me said, "Are you going somewhere or going home?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm going home, but I'm also leaving home." So both.
Yeah, right? And it's like you spend a lot of quality time setting up these homes in each place.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm leaving home and I feel nostalgic for my home, but I also feel nostalgic for the home I'm heading towards.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I know exactly what you mean.
It's a bit of like a mind, it's messed up. But I feel this way every time I come into the Boston Logan Airport. Like, it's like, oh, Boston home. But then it's so exciting to leave Boston and coming back to Sevilla or Madrid. It's like exhilarating to be back in Spain.
Yeah, it is. I think something that's really beautiful though is that like living kind of split between two places, that when I'm in Texas, there are things that I appreciate that when I moved away, I had grown tired of, or they weren't shining as much as they used to. And so it's like when I'm there, I appreciate the things that I love. And then when I come back, I'm relieved to come back to the things that I love in Spain. So it's kind of like best of both worlds. Maybe that makes sense.
We're secretly Hannah Montanas, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We are Hannah Montana. Yeah.
We are Spanish Hannah Montanas.
I mean, I'm wearing the wig and you're without the wig.
Yeah, exactly.
Blonde and brunette.
We just have to blend our hair together and we will be the full Hannah Montana. Best of both worlds. And also, honestly, it can be quite amazing. And I think this is something we'll talk about more, but like online, you look like you have an amazing life, right? Because living in gorgeous places, like you take a picture on the street that you walk out on and it looks like you're an influencer or something.
It is gorgeous. Yeah. Even, I mean, here living in Jaén, which is a small city, it's the capital of one of 8 provinces in Andalusia, but it's a small city.
Sure.
It's still gorgeous, but the salaries are low and the work opportunities are low because this is an agricultural region. So I think that that's one thing that I love about hopefully this podcast is bringing light to those dichotomies, getting to talk about them, but then also hopefully finding out from other people if they have similar situations of living in a new place or kind of living with those dichotomies as well of like, this looks so beautiful and yet it can be a struggle too.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that's something we're going to talk about a lot, like not just the bright, shiny pieces of being a person living abroad, but all of the difficulty, the bureaucracy, the finding friendships.
Yes.
It's tough.
Yeah, living in another language that's not your native language.
So many topics that all deserve so much time. I do want to talk about specifically Andalusia because that is our main topic for this episode, our opening episode, place that you've been living in for almost 5 years and I keep getting pulled back to.
Yeah. Wait, where is Andalusia, Libby? Tell us.
Fair question, Amanda. Where is Andalusia? So Andalusia or Andalusia, as you might say in Spanish.
Andalusia.
Andalusia must be some might say. Is in southern Spain, and it's a pretty big comunidad or autonomous community that we have here in Spain. There's 17.
Yeah, think like a state, basically, if you're from like Mexico or the United States. But yeah, it's basically the whole bottom block of Spain. When you look at Spain, which is kind of like not a square, but yeah, we're the whole bottom section.
And Andalusia is known to be a very patriotic place.
Like Texas.
Like Texas.
Ole.
Yeah. Like Massachusetts would be like Galicia or something where like the weather is not great and people are a bit colder.
We should compare states and regions. That is hilarious. But I actually love telling people that I moved from one Texas to another because Andalusia has warm weather.
So warm.
Sunny. I think it's sunny like 335 days of the year, like in Texas. Not a lot of snow or rain or super cold weather.
Yeah, and patriotic as hell.
Yes. And yeah, the people are warm. I think that they're very proud of being like a warm and inviting.
Yeah, 100%. I think what we'll see later in the episode when we talk to people from Andalusia, they always describe themselves as being really warm and welcoming.
Yeah,
and coming from a very cold state in the US, that was the thing that shocked me the most. And I felt most like touched by. I was so moved by how warm people were here and just how you could see it within the relationships. Like friends were just very close.
Yeah.
And it's a whole other thing to maybe break into those friend groups.
Oh.
It's tough, but once you have them, so that's a whole other series. Yeah. But I think once you have those friends, like it's tight.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
Apart from warmth, what else is Andalusia known for?
Flamenco. 100%. I would say flamenco. Where's my little fan?
Abanicos, which is fans.
This is the noise of a fan for those who don't see. This is a fan.
Which there's a whole language of, right? Like you can communicate so many messages with your fan.
I think there is.
Yeah.
I just know the ones from Princess Diaries, but I'm sure there's a
excellent
code
reference.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So flamenco, which is a type of dance music rhythm, almost. Some would say way of life.
Could be, right? There's Gitanos who are the gypsies here in Spain, and that's a huge cultural identity here in Spain. They're known to be like some of the biggest flamenco dancers. This is what I know from friends anyways.
Yeah, biggest or maybe even original.
Yeah.
I have to fact check that,
I hesitate to say the original, but I do feel like they have been credited with some of the original, like making flamenco music.
Yes.
And if you are ever like in a cave or cueva in Granada, which is another city close to Jaén, I struggle with that, you can really feel the energy there.
Yes. Yeah, it's amazing. They have those cave flamenco shows and the sound just feels to like fill the whole cave. I love that. That is when you are, yes, that's when you're like immersed in the culture.
Definitely. What do you think is one of the other things that stands out the most here in Andalusia?
Apart from sunshine and beaches, something that really surprised me was mountains. Like we've got mountains and beaches. So those of you that are always asking to choose, like you don't have to choose here.
Also snow and desert.
Yeah.
Surprisingly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We're filled with opposites. That's pretty cool. I like that.
I think there's a huge difference you find here in the cities in Andalusia because there's like a lot of posh culture. People get very dressed up. You know, there's a lot of fancy going out activities and a lot of holidays.
Yeah.
But there's also like the other side of Andalusia, which is very campo, which is very countryside, you know?
Yes.
Like, I'm from a pueblo in the mountains and, I have my countryside here. And like people are really connected to the earth there.
Yeah, absolutely. I do love that. I think that for me, I was from a city, even though I'm from Texas, which even I think Americans have a lot of misconceptions about Texas, just like people have about Andalusia. Like
I do.
All desert. So I'm from a city and had never, ever picked a fruit from a tree until I came to Jaén. And I feel like that is people here have harvested olives from olive trees with their families, that their family has owned that land for generations, or lots of people have an apartment in the city and then their family owns a country house, which they call country house. And it doesn't have to be that far in the country, right? But it's just like a bigger house. And then they have all these fruit trees, which I think is super fresh. I don't know. It was super refreshing for me, honestly.
You're bringing up another really interesting point that Andalusia is a huge producer of agriculture here in Spain.
Yes.
Like you find it especially with like fruits. Like I remember just walking like on a hike and it was fig season and there were just fig trees. This is not something that I'm used to in Massachusetts. We don't necessarily grow figs. It's not one of our top products.
No. In Texas, we don't grow lots of fruit either, I don't think. But I love that. In Almeria, they have lots of greenhouses, but also there's like a famous almond festival when the trees are in bloom.
Oh, yeah.
And then in Huelva, like a lot of strawberries in Spain come from Huelva.
Yes.
So, yeah.
A huge production of fruit and vegetables. And if you ever want to take an interesting satellite look on Google Maps, you can go to Almeria in southern Spain and find just like fields of white, which is the greenhouses.
Plastic.
Just plastic.
Hashtag plastic.
Land of plastic. Tierra de plástico.
Yeah.
But I think besides that, if we're missing another food option or food item about Andalusia, that's super important.
Oh, chiringuitos and fish.
Chiringuito and fish.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what is a chiringuito?
Chiringuito is like a little place, like a little food stand kind of on the beach, but it's bigger than a food stand. It can like have a full place to sit.
Yeah.
But really all you're going to buy there is alcohol and fish.
Yeah.
Anything from the sea, basically.
Totally. Yeah. Like beach restaurant, literally on the sand.
Yeah.
They always have like indoor and outdoor, great views. And then sometimes they have those beach chairs that you can rent.
Yeah. They do have beach chairs.
Like, eat your fish, drink your alcohol, then lay out on the chair on the beach.
Yeah. And the chiringuito can be like really high scale, like high class, or it can literally be like just a building standing there and maybe there's a couple chairs, but like that place probably has the best food.
Fish shack. Yeah.
Fish shack.
Oh, totally. The best. Yeah.
The least amount of accommodations, the best place.
Yes. Living in Malaga, it was like sun's out. Chiringuito.
Chiringuito. Yeah, that's the thing. If it's raining, no chiringuito.
No.
Chiringuito is closed.
The indoor.
Indoor?
Section. There you go.
I'm doing. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the ones that are like just a barn looking place.
Yeah, with like a little teepee hut.
Oh, yeah.
The chair, table. Yeah.
Exactly like the way you're describing it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Andalusia is very famous for tapas.
Tapas
are huge.
Yeah, something that I didn't know. I think even when I studied in Salamanca, which is everything's north of Andalusia, right? But it's to the west of Madrid. I didn't know that there are like regionally famous tapas.
Mm-hmm.
So what are some of your favorite Andalusian tapas?
Oof. My favorite Andalusian tapas. That's hard.
I gotta say, in the summer, salmorejo.
Salmorejo
which
de
is
Córdoba, ¿no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Salmorejo. What do they call it in Córdoba? Yeah. This is another fun thing. Sometimes the same dish has like multiple names and you're like, why would you do this to me?
Yes. Learning to speak Spanish in Andalusia, I think could also be related to learning to speak Spanish in Texas or English. Learning to speak English in Texas. It's like you're going to learn, but you're going to learn through a very interesting accent.
Yes. With a twang.
A lot of twang, a lot of slang. I thought maybe I spoke Spanish really well.
Yeah.
Maybe I speak okay, but I speak with a strong accent.
Yeah. So I learned and found very interesting that Spain has 5 official languages, right?
Yes, it does.
And then some of them are connected to a region that region has spoken that language historically. Andalusia does not officially have a language, but I think that it's very well known.
It's a dialect of sorts.
The accent is tough, and everyone in Spain knows it.
Yeah, we would never deny Andalusians of their rightful accent or dialect.
No. Like when you told people you were moving here, did anyone tell you, good luck with that accent, girl?
I think my tias might have told me that. Yeah, I might have, especially my tia who lives in Madrid, because she knows it's not the same.
No. I also have a friend in Madrid that was like, you're moving where? What? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's going to be so hard for you to learn that. And I feel like in a way it wasn't, but it is very rich and can be very challenging.
It's rich. That's a nice adjective to add onto it. Another thing that was challenging is that we moved during the pandemic.
Oh, yes.
So we didn't just have that strong accent. We had the mask covering the mouth and the noise.
Yeah, teaching with a mask in a school with no heating or air conditioning was tough because you were you're for sure sweating in your mask, but then you feel like your students can't read your lips for learning English, but you also cannot read their lips for learning Spanish.
Yes, totally.
So yeah, it was definitely an added challenge.
It is tough. I remember the first time that I came here to the small town of Andújar in Jaén. I remember trying to talk to landlords, and we all had our little masks on, and they would like say something to me, and I almost thought it was Portuguese because they cut off so many letters at the end of the word.
Yeah.
Like when you say like, I worked, he trabajado, they say like, he trabajado. And you're like, where are the rest of the words?
Where did it go?
Where did it? You almost had it.
I swear they taught me more letters in school.
More letters. Come on. Let them out of your mouth.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. I love that because I never thought about the way that it almost sounds like the nasal Portuguese.
Yeah.
In the like grana.
Like,
he trabajado.
It does kind of have a twang though.
Yeah. Twangish nasal.
Yeah. It's an acquired taste, we can say.
Yeah.
But what do you think? Have you grown to love the Andalusian accent as well?
I have. And I speak with an Andalusian accent and people will comment on it and laugh. And yeah, I think it just shows like, I have regional pride. Let me say that.
My regional pride on it.
So speaking of regional pride, we are talking about Día de Andalucía, Day of Andalusia, in this episode, which is coming around the corner.
I know.
Or depending on when you're listening to this, it has passed.
It may have passed. It is February 28th.
Yes. Okay. And what is the Day of Andalusia celebrating?
It's celebrating the comunidad, the community of Andalusia. Usually, I think it's a regional holiday, so everybody has it off. And then oftentimes people will go to the countryside or go out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I remember my first Día de Andalucía I was working in a school in a village with a population of 2,000. And somehow everyone in the school got this memo that they were going to be recording a video, like a music video of all of the different classes since it was in the pandemic. Each one would be either in their classroom or in the patio, separated. And they were all going to do like a flamenco routine.
Oh, wow.
So everyone was dressed up as like flamenco is usually like a white shirt, right? With like a flower in your hair, maybe some red suspenders and jeans or something. So the whole school came dressed the same, except for the unfortunate American Gidi that did not get the memo.
Gee, I wonder how that happened. Oh, you're still here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hi.
Oh, you. Yeah.
4 months later, you've made it this far. Yeah.
Oh gosh. So we're recording this music video. Somehow they had all been like practicing under my nose without me knowing it. So my 6th grade students were like, Teacher Amanda, like this, and like teaching me the palmadas, which is like the clapping, right? That goes along with the flamenco dancing.
Sí.
And I remember watching the video later and being like, I look so giddy, honestly.
So
like
professional, I'm sure.
Yeah, professional.
Oh my gosh. Pull the video
Please
up.
hire me if you're looking for a background dancer.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think that was the first time that I even heard of Día de Andalucía. But I love the fact that we're celebrating, I guess, like regional differences. More originally, they're celebrating the day that they got their regional power, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The signing of the document that like made them a region and gave them individual power in like local community or local governments.
I guess that's how holidays are made. Yeah.
It's so weird how that happens. But like, I wish we had a Texas Day.
You don't have a Texas Day?
We don't. Maybe because every day is Texas Day.
Every day is Texas Day.
So, but there isn't like one day that I'm like, yeah, let's get my Texas on. But they have that here. They're like, let me get my Andalucía.
Did you forget to get your Texas on today?
I did.
Amanda.
But
you need to restart everything.
This mug is brought to you from Texas. I always have something that shows my pride with me at all times.
I unfortunately don't carry my state mug around with me wherever I go, but I will work on that.
You should work on that.
Okay, sorry. I wasn't prepared. But that is a really good example of like how the pride is shown through dance and music. I really like that about here in Andalusia. Like it is quite a passionate place when we talk about the culture.
Yeah.
My first day of Día de Andalucía that I celebrated was also like 2021. And I remember I was teaching English to a family and they invited me to their country house. And of course you have a country house. And this town was kind of small near a national forest, a national park. I think it's the Sierra Morena, which is the brown Sierra. And makes sense because it's so hot in Andalusia here that like past May, basically everything burns. It just turns brown. But at one point it's green. Yeah, right. Beautiful. Let's go to the brown forest.
The dead forest.
So basically we went up, it was February, so not as dead, but we went to their countryside house. And this is where I experienced one of my favorite words in Spanish. And but it's called sobremesa.
Oh, sobremesa.
Yeah. You want to explain what that is?
I would love to. So sobremesa, literally translated, is over table. Right? But what is over table? It means we've eaten our meal, usually lunch, because that's like the big meal here, right? Like both in quantity of food that you eat and also just like the amount of time that you spend. So you eat your food and then you just sit over the table, basically at the table, and just chat and like finish your drinks, then order a coffee, then like order a sweet thing. I don't know. And then you just sit there and the waiter's never going to come around and be like, hello, would you like to leave now?
You're past your 90 minutes. Oh, what are you doing here? No.
No. So it's just like continuing to connect even once the meal is over.
Yes, exactly. So really I would like interpret it more as like connection, like no rush.
Yeah.
And so I experienced this. It can happen in a restaurant, but in this case, it was at a countryside house. So we brought everything from the city. We had all this food and we just ate for hours. But then it was like we weren't in a rush, you know, and the meals came out, like the courses came out slowly. And then when the food was done, maybe we just go and get another drink, but come back. Like you basically watch the whole day pass by and it's the most relaxing thing you could do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's purely connecting with the people there and enjoying the silences as they come up.
Yeah. This is probably one of the biggest things that drew me to Spain was just the slower pace.
Yeah.
And I think that Spain is famous for this worldwide, sometimes to the point of like taking a nap and laziness, but it's not really about that. It's just about not rushing too much. And coming from the United States where everything is about rushing, like if you're not rushing, you're losing time and money.
Why are you so lazy?
Yeah, right? So I think that sobremesa or like, we're not going to have school today because we're just going to celebrate our region. It's like, cool, great. I mean, we have school, but like in school, we're just going to like film a music video of us all dancing and having a good time.
Yeah.
That's beautiful in a different way.
Yeah, it is like a total polar opposite to the way that we tend to function in the US.
Yeah.
And so it's quite refreshing to come here. Although I will say, besides just refreshing, sometimes it's kind of difficult. Like I have a hard time slowing down at times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's been good for me, like being here in Andalusia. It reminds me, you don't have to rush so much. And life is not just to be worked, it's also to be enjoyed and lived.
So true. Yeah. So speaking of enjoying, what is the typical thing to eat for Día de Andalucía? What do people usually enjoy, I think, for breakfast?
Yeah, I think I know this one. Bread and olive oil.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding,
Ding, ding, ding, yeah. I was like, definitely olive oil. It's got to be there.
Olive oil.
Maybe salt? Did they put salt in? I can't remember.
I think it's weird because the dish is called like pan con aceite.
Yeah.
Bread with oil. But I think that it's usually comes with tomato.
Okay, because that's the normal breakfast.
That is the normal.
If the breakfast for Día de Andalucía is pan with oil, they've basically just taken all the fun things out of the breakfast, which is not much to begin with. It's tomato and maybe ham if you're lucky. Like,
yeah, but jamón ibérico, not just any ham.
Of course,
not York ham.
Ew, York ham. For those who don't know, York ham is basically ham in the U.S.
Yes, the only ham that we have.
The only ham. The poverty ham. I don't know. It's not a fancy ham. Of course, the ham here that's Iberico is the one, or Serrano, I guess you could say.
Oh, yeah.
The different types
of
ham.
Types, yeah.
I took a cuisine class in my study abroad when I was taking class.
Aren't you fancy?
Yeah, that was the easiest class I've ever taken. But I do remember an important fun fact about jamón Serrano. The best ham, or jamón, is made by pigs who eat acorns. Bellotas.
Pretty weird, right?
Yeah, it's weird.
Do you picture pigs in the Andalusian countryside walking around eating acorns?
I picture them like little piglets just like scavenging their acorns. Not really. No, I picture like farmers being like, here, eat these acorns.
This is all you get.
This is all you get. You're a luxury jamón right now. They're like looking at their hind legs like, this baby's gonna...
And they're like, this is luxury. Don't you forget it.
Anytime you ungrateful little cerdito.
Oh, no. Poor pigs. Okay, yes. But the ham is good.
You know what's a really Andalusian thing, though?
What?
Speaking of jamón and speaking of, let's say, beer, which is very commonly drank here, when you walk into like a typical Andalusian bar, what are the different things you're going to see on the walls?
Like antique decoration.
Yeah.
Maybe an animal head.
Probably.
Like a taxidermied stuffed
Definitely
guy.
A picture of Jesus, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Close to the animal head.
or a cross or
cross.
Something. Another religious symbol.
And probably lots of jamón legs just hanging up there on the ceiling.
Yeah, with those they come with these little like drip cups. Since the ham is hanging from the ceiling, dripping its ham juice.
How often do you think they change those things?
I don't know. That's a good question. We should ask.
We should get a jamón expert in on this show.
We should. What was the biggest culture shock you experienced when you moved to Andalusia?
I moved here thinking it was warm and hot all the time. Let me tell you, the winter is short, but you don't forget her. She's brutal.
She is brutal.
And what makes it so brutal is that Andalusia is an interesting region that doesn't tend to have central heat. Not the way we're used to in the United States.
Or central air conditioning.
Hoorah! Yeah, not for the weak. So my shock was coming here, and I will say we had bad luck the first year I was here. We had like a cold wave or something. It was very, very chilly. And there was no central heat, but there was something amazing that exists here in Andalusia called a brasero. Has anyone heard of a brasero before?
Oh my gosh, the brasero. Classic.
Table.
Classico.
So basically, brasero is just a name for a table with a big blanket over it, and they stick a heater inside. Like, not a space heater necessarily, but like the other type of heater.
Like a furnace. Or like...
Basically a furnace, like an electric heater.
You can't touch it because it gets red hot and it has like the grid, like the What do you call that?
There's different types of brasero heaters.
Sure.
Either way, it's hot. You don't touch it. But you put your legs next to it, and then you pull the blanket over your legs like a little grandma tucking in for the night. Is going to see her favorite soap operas sitting under the brasero. So at least your lower half is warm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which would not happen in the United States because it's like a lawsuit waiting to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because they have them in public places. Like the school that I worked at my first year had a brasero in the teacher's lounge. So it's this long, like rectangular table with like 10 chairs around it.
Yes.
So we have to leave the windows open because of COVID. We have to wear masks, but yet we all share this blanket. We like sit under this blanket, and we didn't just put it on our laps. We would like drape it up to our shoulders, like almost put our whole faces under it because it was so cold.
It's a way of surviving.
It is a way of surviving. And I remember thinking like, this blanket is filled with COVID and the window's open, and that's why I'm freezing.
That was a very tough year with the windows wide open.
It was tough.
I remember I taught in my hat and gloves, and I feel like the kids, not only did they not see my face, but they just didn't see my hair or my hands for like 3 months.
Yes, when they lifted the mask requirements, people were, or like when it would be snack time and we would all sit in our chair and get our snack, the students would try to peek at your face.
Oh, yeah.
And be like, oh my gosh.
This was everyone during the pandemic. It's shocking. Especially for a foreigner, you know? They're like, who is the foreigner? I can't see her face.
Exotic and mysterious.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Always were getting freaked out. But anyways, yes. So going back to the brasero, it's like this magical invention that you're so right, wouldn't exist in the US because I think it would be not allowed.
No.
I kind of wish it did because it's quite fun.
It is fun.
But we don't talk enough about how difficult it is to leave the brasero table.
Oh.
It's easy to get there and get cozy, but then what happens when you got to go back to the rest of the apartment that's like a nice crisp 55 degrees?
It's so true because it's usually only in your living room, right? Like you use it at your couch.
Yes.
When you're sitting at your couch, there's this like high top table with a heater under the blanket. And then everywhere else in your house, you're just freezing.
Exactly. 55 degrees is probably like 12 degrees, by the way, for those who only speak Celsius.
Yes. I mean,
it's around there. It's not what my comfortable house temperature is,
right,
personally.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I remember actually one time when I was hiding under my brasero table. So this is what happens, is it got so cold in my apartment, not the great insulation, by the way, but I climbed under the table. I was getting desperate, man.
That is desperate.
I had chilblains. Like I was getting like some cold trauma from apparently the hottest place in Spain. I was like, they lied to me. I was lied to.
Yeah, the same thing happened when I moved to Salamanca for a study abroad. It was January 2nd. And in my mind, Spain, I'm like, yeah, sunshine, beach, right? And so I was like, cool, it's January, but who cares about that? It's still going to be sunny. So, of course, being from Texas, I didn't have a coat or a raincoat. So I moved and got a cold in like the first day because of my lack of jacket situation.
Yes. It's quite different because in the US, there's this other shock of like being in the very hot weather, the hot, like inside of your house. It's very dry because of the central heat. Then you walk outside and it's flipping freezing.
For you.
Yeah, thanks for rubbing it in a minute. Yes, in my state of origin, it's quite cold in the winter.
Yeah.
But here it's not the case. It's actually warmer in the street. And so in my first apartment in Spain, I was living on my own and it was a bit old, this place. And I could draw on the humidity outside of the window. So I would open the window, like thinking this is a terrible idea in winter. No, I was basically letting warm air into my apartment. And there was moisture on the outside because it was so cold in my apartment.
Yeah, it does that. It just like traps whatever, either the heat or the cold in.
Yeah.
And you're like, why are you doing this to me, apartment?
I have a beef with whoever designed these buildings.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Was it the same person throughout all of Andalusia, you think?
Someone's like, this is going to be a great practical joke. We're going to make buildings that have no regulation of temperature and the thinnest walls ever.
And just not prepared for whatever is coming.
No.
Yeah.
Andalusia is a magical place. And this is not the worst culture shock that it could have had, but it was definitely a culture shock.
It's so true. But, I think that's something unique, like what you said. In Massachusetts, it was cold for you outside and not for me. So these culture shocks or perspectives are all based on also where we're from.
Totally.
Country, city, state. And so as part of wanting to represent other people's voices, or like not just hear from the two of us, Americans in Spain, we also asked our friends to tell us what they think about Andalusia or the Day of Andalusia.
Yes.
So should we take a break and listen to some of those?
I think we should. Yeah, let's hear from people from around the world and what they think about Andalusia.
Okay, let's do it.
When I think of Andalusia, I think of people smiling, being amicable. Most of the people I have met here are hospitable. They like to meet other people, to learn from other cultures, and to include everybody in the group. So they're very gregarious. They like to go together with friends, always sharing things and smiling. That's what I like about here.
Hello, I'm Katia. I'm from Alicante, but I'm living in Malaga. When I think of this day, it comes to my mind different cultural activities on the streets of the main cities, and many people gathering together, eating or drinking at bars and restaurants.
For me, Andalusia is a place of very nice people, very good food, a lot of heat, and a lot of tourism.
Hello, I'm Lucia from Jaén, and when I think of my region, it comes to my mind late, long breakfast under the sun with tomato toast with a lot of olive oil, and then also late lunches with friends, smelling fried fish everywhere, sangria, and of course, all the time is sunny. Even at night, it feels like it's sunny because it's too warm, and I love it.
Andalusia is sobremesa, sitting after a meal, talking for a while, losing track of time, and just enjoying each other's company.
For me, Andalusia is finding a new home, a place where you can relearn and resignify the most important things in life through the art, the beauty, and the people.
Andalucía para mí es una abuela. It's like an old grandma that will spoil you, will give you the best advice, will tell you the best stories, and will welcome you anytime.
Hey, this is Paco from Almería, and I want to share a few words about Andalusia. For me, Andalusia is good and warm people surrounded by bad politicians and mountain landscapes. It's salmorejo, low salaries, chiringuitos. I don't know. It's olive oil and day-to-day survivors.
Andalusia means good weather, means friendliness, means eating tapas with your friends under the sun in a bar terrace.
Pues cuando pienso en Andalucía se me viene a la mente mucho aprovechar el día, ¿no? Cuando hace sol en esa primavera o en ese invierno, en ese otoño, irte a una terraza, tomarte algo con tu gente, hartarte de reír, de gesticular con las manos, de contar anécdotas.
Well, Andalucía for me is something that you can picture like a sort of deck. You can draw splendid, harmonious, and daydream cards, but at the same time, you can also draw some more chaotic and nightmare cards.
When I think of Andalusia, it comes to my mind sunny weather, hospitable people, good fresh fish, long and beautiful beaches, and a very good quality of life.
Hey, I'm Shaka, and after spending 2 years in Andalusia, all I have to say is, es mi tierra, mi corazón. No matter where life takes me, Andalusia will always be very special. I miss the dancing nights, the tapas, golden sunsets, and beautiful views. Andalusia, nunca te olvidaré, mi alma.
I love how there's so much overlapping of the different perspectives on Andalusia. Granted, like many people that we asked to share their perspectives are from Andalusia.
Yeah.
But you can tell like the warmth of the people and being out in the street and sharing time is a common theme.
Absolutely. But even just those realistic perspectives too of like chaos and lower salaries.
Yeah, that's definitely true. The tourism, the heat.
Yes.
Is unescapable.
Really what we want to say is that Andalusia has given us so much. We're happy to be celebrating this day. And we invite you, beautiful listeners, to come and check it out for yourself and experience the awesomeness of Andalusia for yourself if you haven't been before.
Ask us for tips.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll be doing that in future episodes as well. Of course, we'll be sharing more travel tips among other themes. It's like to move abroad.
Yeah.
How you can actually do it, moving to Spain.
A lot of the common ways that people do move to Spain and
the
stay.
Different positive parts, combating loneliness, which is a common theme that oftentimes Instagram won't show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not just in Spain, but like anywhere, right?
In general.
Even if you're from Texas and you move to Massachusetts, it can be lonely and hard to find community. And so those are the conversations that you and I have had a million times. And this podcast is a continuation of those real conversations that we've had.
Absolutely. And we'll be bringing on other people to share their perspectives as well, which is very exciting.
Very.
Yeah. So, Amanda, we come to a close.
Oh my gosh. Can we just give each other like an air high five right now?
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, perfect. We didn't make a loud clap noise.
Just save your ears.
You're welcome.
Wherever you're listening.
I want to say first thank you to everyone who shared their amazing stories and their beautiful voices for the podcast.
Yes.
We really appreciate that.
And a special shout out and thank you to our friends who we also met in Jaén.
Yes.
Dan and Marge, who were
Marge.
incredible musicians, but made our cool American fusion flamenco music for us.
Full circle.
So perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. And thank you for listening and joining us.
Yeah. Thank you. If you have listened to this whole podcast, this is the first one. And we're so excited to have you on for future ones. So feel free to leave comments, or if you have anything that you'd like to hear, we can work it in.
Yeah, we would love to hear back from you. And also, if you liked what you heard, would you share it with a friend? We would appreciate that.
Yeah. Go ahead and share it with someone who might be interested. And with that, I think we'll say adios.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego.
Ciao.
Ciao. Venga.
See you later.
Vamos.
Vámonos. Que nos vamos.
Adios.
Yes.
Okay.
The most awkward adios.
Ya vamos a cerrar acá. Ya está.
Chao.
Besitos. Chao.